because we are not ready for this. What is your take on that?
I do support the amendment bill that Murkomen is pushing in the Senate. Actually, I have filed a petition as of yesterday against this law, because what it does is it actually discriminates against a constituency of people, not only just the youth, but women and those who actually have never gotten access to formal education. The fundamental belief around this and around maybe what people are being very careful not to speak about is that leadership does not necessarily equate to degrees. We have had the same government actually coming out and gazetting and instituting autonomous organizations such as the Kenya National Qualification Authority, because the government also has an understanding that there are people who are experts in the different fields but have not necessarily gone to formal education. They do not have degrees. So what Kenya National Qualification Authority does, they have a program under the recognition of prior learning. It's an actual program where they seek these people who've never gone to classrooms but are experts in certain fields, and then they equate their expertise to either a level of certificates, diploma, or degrees. So saying that in order for you to be elected as a member of National Assembly or as a member of County Assembly, that you must have a sort of formal degree, is actually saying that if I come from a community, let's say, of pastoralists, and a majority of us are not necessarily educated in formal education, we are actually saying then that those people are limited to only select the few who have gotten that exposure. So what it does, it takes away the spirit of devolution. The spirit of devolution was to ensure that we take government to the people. And if the people are in these communities and they are dealing with a diverse kind of education, whether formal or otherwise, then you should not limit them to that particular certification.
But then, Gloria, with all due respect, this is a law that was put over 10 years ago, shelved for the first time, was supposed to be implemented during the last elections, and then, you know, it was shelved now. And then now, again, we're saying it has to be implemented for the next year's general election. But I mean, it gave Kenyans, those who wanted to be in leadership in this country, time to go get, you know, more knowledge.
That's the argument that my petition is actually trying to put out. We are not talking about Kenyans who want to be in elective seats as of the period of when the law was instituted to this period. We are talking about the sustainability of it. For instance, if you go, for instance, to areas such as Wajir, yeah? We are not saying that when the law was put, anyone who at that point wants to run for government should quickly find a way to get to a university and get a degree. The argument, the basis of this argument is that degree that you're pushing, that formal learning that you're pushing for, is what we are trying to say is marginalizing areas and communities where they do not even have that access. A clear example would be, we've just concluded KCSE. We had, I think, 174,000, I'm not quite sure about the numbers, but only 16% of all the graduates of KCSE have been admitted to universities. One, because of the capacity. Two, because of the regulations that we have in form of, in order to get into a university, you have to have a C+ and above. So it means 80% of all of these candidates who just cleared their KCSE, above 80% actually, have been blocked from leadership. So what this law does, it systematically institutionalizes marginalization of particularly the youth. Then when you look at what we are pushing in form of the TVET sector, we have been saying that for a long time, and even within our state agencies, that TVET should not be looked upon as a sector where you have failed academically and so we are pushing you there. TVET is actually being pushed as a sort of future of job creation. So when we are pushing 90% of our youth to the TVET sector, where they get certifications on levels of diplomas, technical certificates and things like that, are we then trying to say that this same constituency of people, the youth, are then actually being systematically moved away from representation, which is actually against our current constitution, the same constitution under Article 24 that states, in order for you to limit someone's right or freedom by a law, there has to be a justifiable and reasonable explanation. And if there are any other grounds for you to achieve whatever it is you're trying to achieve, then they would prefer that you go that direction.
So are you saying that, are you also supporting what the DP put out last week, that members of parliament should actually review Section 22 of the Elections Act?
That's exactly what my petition is doing. But the spirit with which we are arguing this degree issue is the law that was put in, that Section 22. At that moment, the spirit of that law was that we are trying to ensure that in the National Assembly, in the Senate, or in the county assemblies, that we have robust arguments, that we have sort of solid debates in terms of development.
And that is what members of the National Assembly put forth when they were, amending Section 22 of the Elections Act, saying they need a robust argument on the floor of the House, where learned people exchange ideas. When they summon CSs for questioning, they know what they're talking about.
You see, if that is the spirit with which they're pushing this degree, I want to pose this question. In order for me to come and give a robust debate, in order for me to come and give some sort of analytical thinking, does that mean that only those people who have degrees can do that? Does it mean that the diploma holders, the certification holders, those who actually just finished Form 4 are not capable of giving solid debates? Absolutely not. If you go down and look at the history of representation, particularly in the National Assembly, those legislators who have actually brought progressive bills, you'll find a couple who are actually never had degrees, never even had, some of them are school dropouts. The idea here is for the elected person to be able to understand the people that he represents in the National Assembly or the Senate or the County Assembly, and then be able to translate their ideas from the grassroots and create that synergy in the debates in these spaces.
Right.
But in order for you to do that, you are not limited to a degree. In order for you to do that, you actually have to have three things. One, you must be conversant and be able to speak in our national languages, that is English and Swahili. Two, you must be able to have analytical thinking, which, by the way, the reason why we moved to CBC curricula, the competence-based curriculum, is because we have this understanding that 844 was pushing for academic certifications, but they did not really have competencies in terms of life skills. So, and the third one actually was that you need to, seriously, you need to be able to just resonate with the people.
All right,
yes.
Resonate with the people. And as we bring this conversation to an end, Gloria, so what should be implemented?
I believe that we definitely need to put a minimum standard. We need to regulate it. And I would limit it to the ability to speak and to read and write, the ability to speak both national languages, English and Swahili, and also the ability to resonate with the people.
Meaning academic papers.
Academic papers
don't really matter.
Academic papers don't matter, because somebody who is a school dropout from primary school but can speak, read and write, and maybe they had informal learning and they're able to be at the same par with a graduate, then you cannot say just because you didn't go to school and get this certification, you're not able to read and write.
All right, Gloria Oroba, Youth Policy Analyst, thank you so much. One of the people, at least now I know that you're one of the people who've petitioned.
Yes, I'm actually the only person who has put a petition on the High Court.
Where I come from, person. And it's allowed.
All right,
a short commercial break.
An amendment bill in Parliament.
All right.